All right. It's the 27th of June. It's a Friday. Got about 25 minutes to the NY Open. Okay. Just a second. Okay. Let's take a quick look at the calendar. Okay. So we have a news event today. Core PCE price index, not important. It doesn't matter. This news event is not important. But it's at 8:30 a.m. EST. So we're going to wait for the news event before looking for any setups, right? Also remember it's the last week of the month and it's the last day of the week, so just got to be careful, not try to force any trades today. Just give me a second. Yeah. Okay. Perfect. Right. Let's look at the daily. We're dropping hard. We're dropping hard. We're very bearish. We spoke about this kind of candle previously as well. And there's a lot of volume, no top wick, price continues straight down, doesn't need to uh, break its own high and try to create a top wick. It just continues down. We've been very bearish on the weekly. We're very bearish, right? We've crossed over 1,100 pips, I think. Yeah. I did take a trade yesterday. I'll share that with you. It was outside stream hours. It was a perfect setup. We'll discuss that in a bit. Yeah. Okay. So let's try to predict the weekly candle close. Okay. The weekly candle is very bearish. It's going to close bearish, right? It's not going to go back 1,100 or 1,150 pips today in a single day. That's not going to happen. So the weekly candle is going to close bearish. The question is, where is it going to close? Because depending on where the candle closes, it'll either leave a small wick or a large wick, right? Now, we'll have to go to the daily. Where is price coming to? There was a decision level here. Price ranged, as you can see. We came deep in, we pushed back, but yesterday's daily candle closed bearish, back below 3332. So we were very bearish. So price broke the low and continued down. Now we've come to another decision level. All right, this is a drop. There is a base here and a rally, right? A drop, a base, and a rally. This is actually, in fact, a reaction to that. This is a drop, a base, a rally. Now, this zone here, this daily demand zone here, this marked in green, has taken out this supply to the left, right? So therefore, it's a decision level. I believe price is going to come deeper, right? Probably something like this candle here, right? Very similar to this candle. Very little top wick, very little top wick. Similar to this. This has no top wick at all. Comes down and then begins to push back up, right? And maybe the daily candle closes around 3,300, right? Or just underneath 3,000, around 3,300, right? Or just above it. In that case, the weekly candle will have a smaller wick, right? Like about if it comes down here, let's see where it could likely come down to, possibly, let's say 3,265. So then about a 240 pip wick, right? Around 3289. If we close around 3289, yeah, about a 230 pip wick, right? So not too large. right? That's possibly how the weekly candle could close. So therefore, and the daily candle is going to close bearish. This is not going to flip bullish. Price is not going to push up over 500 pips and close bullish. So the weekly is going to close bearish. The daily is going to close bearish, right? Depends how far is it going to push down and then pull back to, right? That's the only question. So price is very likely going to come. We'll have to see on the lower time frame if you have a liquidity candle, it's going to come to liquidity. We'll have to see on the lower time frame, is there a liquidity candle here or is it deeper down here? It's going to come to a liquidity level, grab liquidity, and then start to push up. And that'll happen probably later on. 2 3 hours from now, or probably even 4 hours from now, right? But for now we're pushing down, we're heavily bearish, we're pushing down, we're heading towards 3265. That's where we're heading to, right? And that's about 170 pips away. That's likely where we're heading to. We'll have to see if there is a liquidity candle before that, somewhere here, right? On the lower time frame, we'll check that out. But that's the prediction for the weekly, right? Where the weekly candle will probably push the daily candle will continue to push down and then pull back up, and the weekly and the wick will leave about a 200 plus pip wick, 220, 230 pip wick, right? So we'll come back on Monday and see if that analysis plays, if it played out. Now, the trades that I'm possibly we could be taking today. I'm not sure if I'm going to be trading today, but the trades that we could take for today is a push down and then a push up, right? A push down in the first 2 hours of the NY session or the first hour and a half, and then a push back up, right? Those are the trades that we could possibly be taking today. Yeah. Sorry, 1 second. Did I not post this? Mm-hmm. Okay. All right. Okay. Let's go to our trading chart. Right. Now, before we draw our zones for today, we have a lot of time. We have about 45 minutes because there's news at 8:30 a.m. EST. So we're going to wait for that before we take any trades. We're ranging anyway. We're ranging. We're just under 3289. We're just ranging right now. We could push up here and then pull back down. We're going to wait. Anyway, yesterday on the 30-minute time frame, clean push down, right? In fact, price did come to this resistance here in the liquidity candle. It came here. I could have taken that trade, but I didn't. So once that move happened, and price came and created a new low in the NY session, right? I wanted to look for a trade, right? And I just came back probably about an hour and a half later after the stream, maybe about 2 hours later after the stream was over. And price came back to 3332, the liquidity candle, 30-minute resistance formed. Perfect trade to take from there. 30-minute resistance, 30-minute tradable back candle close from the liquidity candle, right? So this candle closed at 21. Yeah, 21. And I did hold this trade overnight. Yeah, this was the close of the candle. That was my entry right there, around 33, 34.25 or something, about there. Here, it was at this supply zone, rally base drop on the 15-minute, right? Perfect tap. And first TP was here, 200 pips, because then that was the next liquidity level, right? And the next one was here, right? So that one was about 340 pips. That's it. Got out there, right? Here and here. But those trades, the TP hit in the Asian session today. That's when it hit TP. Yeah, I did hold them overnight. Entry, kept my stop loss there. It was a very tight stop loss, about 20 pips. So it didn't matter if I got stopped out or not. It was just 20 pips. And I held for 200 here and then 340 here. Right, that was a nice trade to take. All right, so let's get rid of all of these and do our analysis for today. We spoke about this yesterday. Let me just show this. 1 second. I said whenever there was a liquidity candle here as well. Yeah. Whenever liquidity candles are stacked up one against the other, once it starts breaking one, it'll break all of them. That's exactly what happened, right? And that's one of the reasons I had my final TP here, because I knew this was going to break, and it did. Okay. All right. Let's start. Demand. Let's take a look at this demand zone here, right? It's a very old demand zone. Let's take a look at this. We've come through all of this. There is demand here. This is a reaction to something here on the left. So in fact, let's just delete all of this. Yeah, let's start fresh. Get rid of this. Okay. Let's put a line there and look left. So if you look left, there's a drop and a rally, right? There's a base there. So let's start with that. Today is when? 27. Let's go to the 1 hour time frame. Okay. So that's the reason. This rally, base rally, is the reason for this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just extend this one here, right? Extend this up here. Let's take a look at that on the 30-minute as well. Yeah, it's good on the 1 hour. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring it all the way up here. Because this base here, this rally, base rally. So this is the leg in, 1, 2, 3, 4 base in candles and a leg out. And price has come, created new, that's a reaction to the source of demand and created new demand here and pushed up, right? So let's put the numbers on this: 275, and this low is 610. 275. Perfect. Okay, let's get rid of that. Okay. Um, let's also get rid of these liquidity candles. Let's do all of this fresh. Okay. And then here, there's a drop and a rally here. So there is a wick there, a liquidity wick from this level right here, which is 3250. If you go to the 1 hour, there's a base there, a drop, two base in candles, and a rally, right? 504, 553, 504, 553. Perfect. Now, that is a decision level. That's where price is coming to, heading to 3265, right? I'm anticipating later on in the next hour, hour and a half, 2 hours, 30-minute support to form here and a push up to create that weekly wick, right? That's a possible trade to take later on, right, around NYSE. Because we've already moved about 518 pips. So there's a likelihood of where price is going to push up later on to create the weekly wick and the daily wick. Covers about 300 pips, should be good enough. Let's extend this as well. Yeah, that's good enough. All right. Now, let's look at supply. So that's a demand level. This is a very old demand level right here. Just extend it to the right, and there is the liquidity candle there. We can leave that as it is. I don't want to look at that liquidity candle. That should be good. But we're going to look at the liquidity candles in here, right? Because I'm anticipating a pullback later on from this level, right? Probably drop down here another 100 pips, 125 pips, and then probably push back up. Okay, let's look at supply. We have a rally, 4 base in candles and a drop, and then we have a rally, a base, and a drop. This one right here. And we can push this one up. Okay. In fact, I'm going to keep it, I'm going to bring it to this. I'm going to bring it to drop, base, 2 base in candles, and then the drop. Drop, base, drop. 646934. 646934. Okay, done. It's 4-hour supply. That's also 4-hour supply. Let's keep that there. All right. Now let's look at the lower time frame because prices crossed psychological round number and also weekly SR levels. We'll have to look at that area on the low time frame because there is a candle break there. We'll see if there is a base there. And there's a drop, a base, and a drop. Let's mark that out on the 1 hour. Let's take a look at that on the 30-minute as well. Yeah, good on the 30-minute here. So there's high 104, 4, close 398. And there is, let's take a look at, there is a base that we created here as well on the 1 hour. Yeah, a drop, a base, and a drop. Oh, it's very ugly. One one zero 454. 110454. Okay. One hour supply. 1 hour supply, right? Let's take a look at this demand again. Maybe we can push it further down. Let's take a look at the 30-minute time frame. Yeah, we're going to move it down here. 7705. To the base here, the drop and the rally, right? Because that's the source price has already come. We're coming there anyway. We're coming to this. So just moved it down to the base there. Yeah, we've tapped it already. All right. Those are the zones. We have two new supply zones here. We have a new 4-hour supply zone here and a readjusted 4-hour supply zone here. These are all old zones from the previous weeks. Let's take a look at these. It's just about 1 minute to the NY open. Let's take a look at these and see if they're high liquidity zones or not. Let's go to the 30-minute. Start here. Have you taken out anything to the left? This we've broken. We've broken this, so that's a high liquidity zone, that one there. But this one here, yeah, we've taken out this here. There is a rally, two base-in candles and a rally. That's a source, that is the reaction and the push up, right? And that's exactly at 3289. The low of this candle is 8402. Let's put a line there. Okay, so it's a rally, two base-in candles and a rally. And we've taken that out here, right? So both these are high liquidity zones. Right. And this one obviously is a high liquidity zone. It's a big push down. It's taken out a lot of demand levels here on the way down. And so is this one has taken out here. Right? We've taken out this demand here. This push down has taken out this drop base rally. All right. Done. Okay, now let's take a look at this area and look for liquidity candles. We're right in the middle of supply and demand right now. Let's take a look at supply because price is pushing down. We are about 230 pips away from the EMAs. Yeah, about 230 pips away from the EMAs. Let's take a look at this area on the 1 hour. The largest candle here is this. Let's start with that. Let's go to the 30-minute. Yeah, that's the candle right there. Let's go to the 15-minute. $86 pips. That's good enough, I think. 83, 86, yeah. Let's take a look at the 5-minute as well. No, 50-minute is good. 538698. Okay. Now, let's take a look at the zone above. There's this big candle here. Also, this candle here. 131, 119. That's fine. That aligns perfectly with this. It's okay. This one right here, 114 pips. Let's look at the 15-minute. No, 30-minute is good. 368, 261. 368, and this high is 538. Yeah, that's a liquidity candle. Two liquidity candles, right? Right, the weekly SR level runs right through it, and so does the EMAs and the BRN as well, runs through the other one. Okay. I'm not going to look at the liquidity candle above there. We don't need to. We can do that next week, right? Because price is not going to push up 500, 600 pips right now. We got a lot of liquidity levels to get through before price gets up there. There is a weekly SR level, liquidity candle, a liquidity candle again, BRN again, EMA. There's a lot of levels price to go through before it gets up there. All right, let's look left for demand. 1 second. On the 1 hour, let's look at this area here. There's this large candle, but that's outside the zone, 150 pips. Is this 126? Yeah. Does it sound good? One second. Not sure what's happening. I hope the sound is fine. Okay. That's 142 pips, and that is 126. We'll start with this, which is this, 154. Let's go to the 30-minute. $128. This one right here. Let's go to the 15-minute. Yeah, 30-minute is good there. And then there is this 124 pips, 117. That's the zone below. Let's keep that on the 30 as well. Bring it down here. Perfect. Yeah, good on the 30. One second, 114. Yeah, we're good. 30-minute. 542250. 5422. 827. Okay. Yeah, that's it. Price is still coming down. Okay, done. Let's take a look at, yeah, we're pushing down heavy. Let's take a look at what price has done in the Asian and London session. We had some nice moves in the Asian today. Heavy push down. Heavy push down, and the push down is before news. We could continue down, might not get a pullback, continue down, later on push up, create resistance to come back and retest the low, and then after that start forming support. Maybe about 2 hours from now, 2.5 hours from now, form support to push back up to create that weekly wick. If I do take a trade today, that's the trade I'll possibly look to take. The buys to go up later on, not now, later on. After 30-minute support has formed, 30-minute tradable bull candle has closed from a liquidity level, probably around 3265. Let's see how far price pushes down. Anyway, there's a lot of time for that. All right, let's see where the market opened. Just a second. Okay, that's the market open. Right here, 3327.6. Okay. In fact, since we have time, let's take a look at this. Let's take a look at the zone. Let's identify a liquidity candle here as well. Makes sense then. We know drop. The drop makes sense. Okay, on the 1 hour time frame, it's this big candle here. Right? 225 pip candle. Start with that. Let's go on the 30-minute. Yeah. This candle right there. Go to the 15-minute. This candle right there. 550. 5646. Yeah, broke that. That's fine. The 5-minute. And nothing on the 5-minute. It's the, yeah, the 15-minute candle. This one. 550174. Pay. Perfect. Now, oh yeah, this was yesterday. Okay. Yeah, now that's the Asian high. That makes sense. That's the reason I did it. Because I wanted to see where the liquidity candle was, because price comes to liquidity, as we know, to tap it, to grab liquidity, to continue in the direction. All right. It's the Asian high, 207. It's the Asian low, 118. 104. This is the London low, 197. Okay, perfect. Now, we've got about 13 minutes to news. Let's see what could possibly happen. Price is currently 250 pips away from the EMAs, right? This candle, yeah, 250, 260 pips away from the EMAs. Okay, so let's take a closer look at what the Asian and London sessions have done. We were bearish second half of NY session, formed 30-minute resistance. This is the trade I took. 30-minute resistance formed. Price was pushing down. We had created a liquidity candle here in the NY session, and price came, tapped the previous liquidity candle here on the left. That's the tap, formed 30-minute resistance, pushed down, right? And the EMA is crossed. We're below the EMAs. We're pushing down. Oh, this is an EMA cross as well. Perfect trade to take. Ooh, EMA cross, weekly SR, liquidity candle. I didn't realize that. I just took it off based off the liquidity candle. but there's a cross, a weekly SR, and a liquidity candle. Three reasons to take those cells to come down. And that is why it's a huge push down, 600 pip push down, because of three liquidity levels converging. There's a liquidity candle here on the left. We had drawn this during the stream yesterday. This one right here, there's a bearish candle right here. There's a 15-minute or 5-minute bearish candle right here, and price tapped that. There's also weekly SR level 3332. We've had this since so many months, and the EMAs have crossed right here. Perfect push down. Okay, so we were bearish. Price was pushing down. The market opened here. That's the market open right there. Push down, came back, tapped the liquidity candle one last time, created 30-minute resistance. Perfect Asian session trade to take, right? Perfect trade to take. 30-minute resistance, 30-minute resistance, untradeable 30-minute back candle closed. This candle was opened at 4:30, closed at 5 a.m. That's when this one opened. If you just go to 4:45, yeah, that's the candle close. This high broke this high broke this high. Oh, that's a perfect trade. Asian session, perfect trade. I was asleep, but I was already in the trade from up here. Look at that. 29 pip stop loss, 30 pip stop loss, push down. Nice. Anyway, we created the Asian high, tapped liquidity, the liquidity candle created the Asian high, pushed down straight to 3,300, created a liquidity candle here again, came down, created the Asian low, pushed up, yeah, Asian low, yeah, that's correct, Asian low, we pushed up, we tapped the liquidity candle, came back to 3,300, sorry, 3289, close below, close back above, ranged here. Yeah, we pushed back up, created the London high. Sorry, we created the London high, pushed down back to 3289, created another liquidity candle on the way down, formed the London low, pushed back up, grabbed liquidity from that liquidity candle, ranged there for a bit, and now we closed below the London low, and we're staying below the London low. 30-minute resistance formed here, 1330 before pre and Y. Yeah, we've tapped the London, tapped the liquidity candle inside the London session price. Doesn't need to come back up, but yeah, I want to take sells. I want price to push back up and create resistance, 30-minute resistance, because we don't have 30-minute resistance in pre and Y. This is before pre and Y. I want price to push back up, create 30-minute resistance, and then take a trade to come back down. Yeah. We are away from the EMS. We are 250 pips. Yeah, 15-minute resistance is fine as well. You don't have to wait for 30-minute. 15-minute resistance and a 15-minute tradable back handle close to take the sells to come down. And we're going to break this low and come further down. If you can get a sell here, it's a good push down. That's what I'm looking to take. Yeah, let's see. We've got about 7.5 minutes for news. That is what I'm looking to take. I'm looking to take sells. And the idea is waiting for price to push up, create 30-minute resistance and a 30-minute tradable back candle close to take the sells down, or wait for price to push back up, create 15-minute resistance and a tradable 15-minute back candle close to take the sells to come down, because we are away from 250 pips away from the EMA. So basically, I'm looking for either this trade or I'm looking for this trade, right? Or even this trade. Any one of these three. We haven't still created the new low. I don't think this is still the new low. This is still the NY open. So this is not the new low yet. So it's one of these two trades that I'm looking for. Either this number two, this sell here, M30 resistance and a M30 tradable back candle close from a zone or a liquidity level, or since price is over 200 pips away from the EMAs, wait for a pullback, 15-minute resistance, 15-minute tradable back candle close to take the sells to come down, right? One of these two trades. One of these two trades. That's what I'm looking for. If you want this PDF, it's in the group. You find a link to the group. It's a Telegram group. You'll find a link to the group in the video, just below the video, or in my YouTube bio. Right, so I'll be back in about 5 minutes. We're still waiting for 5 minutes of the 15-minute candle close. We need resistance to form. I need resistance to form. I'm not taking a trade until resistance forms. I'm waiting for resistance. Ideally, 30-minute resistance is better, but 15-minute clear resistance with a clear 15-minute tradable back candle close is also fine, right? So I'm waiting for that. This formed 1400. Yeah, this is good. Yeah, but we don't have any M15 high breaks yet. Yeah, these are all, yeah, this one broke, this candle broke this high. Yeah, we need another 15-minute high to be broken. So I'm going to wait 4 minutes for this candle to close. I'll be back in about 3-4 minutes. All right, we're back. Yeah, I'd like to see price push up. Mm. Yeah, I'd like to see price push up first. Still haven't broken a high. Maybe we're going to push up for news. Very likely. We're going to push up for news. Mm. Yeah, this candle has not broken the high yet, so the next one's going to break the high. This candle should break this high. It should continue up a bit. Yeah, I'm gonna wait. It's not an important news event. It's waiting for candle structure basically to take a trade. I'll be honest, I don't like this area. I don't like this area. I don't like the fact that we've just very slowly moved down. On the 30-minute, it just looks a very slow, no clear volume. Compare this to this big push down. This is clear on the 1 hour. Look at that base there, the clean drop, and look at this. So yeah, I would maybe can, if there's an opportunity for sells. If there isn't, then there's a price will just continue to drop. There might not be an opportunity for sells, price might just continue to drop, and later on that buy trade plays out, right, to create the weekly wick. The buy trade to create the weekly wick. So we'll have to wait for that. I'll probably wait for that later on. Again, it's a Friday, last week of the month, the last day of the week. I'm not going to force a trade today unless I see something exactly as per this play out. One of these 4 setups play out, right? So the trade that I'm looking for right now for sells is either this or this, right? This number 2 or number 3 for sells. And I would prefer if price came up here and then pushed down. But I don't think price may not push up 200 pips, may not. Yeah, I don't like this area. I don't like taking sells here. Sells above this, it's the Asian high. Yeah, sells above this might be better. But I don't know if price has, because it's not grabbed enough liquidity to make a 200 pip push up, 150 200 pip push up. Maybe we continue to come down. Let's see. I'm going to very likely wait for 30-minute resistance to form. I'm going to wait for this. It's a Friday. And also it's the end of the week. It's the last week of the month. So I'm going to wait for this. 30-minute resistance, 30-minute tradable back handle from a liquidity level or a zone. I'm going to wait for price to push up, create resistance, and then look to take the trade to come down. Yeah, we should push up now. We should push up. Yeah, this 5-minute candle has closed. We should continue to push up. Hmm. Yeah, we're pushing down. Maybe there's not going to be a push up for sales. Maybe we're just continuing down. Should be heading to 3265. 60 pips more. We are inside a liquidity candle. Price can push up at any point. It can create support at any point. But we've got 3265 right there. No, it's not coming to 3250 today. 200 pip? I don't think so. I don't think so. Yeah, this was the source right here. And we pushed up. Yeah, 3286. We should get to 3286 today. Should have a reaction and should get to 3286 or even 3289. Let's see. Yeah, 3289, 3300 should get a wick, weekly wick. Yeah, for sells, I'm interested above here. Above this, I'm interested for sells, but I don't think we're going to push up right now for those sells. We're already in the liquidity candle. I think we're going to continue down, and then maybe later on there might be sells. On Monday there might be sells, but sells, I'm interested in sells above this. Ideally in this zone here, closer to the 1 hour zone here, not here, up here. Buys anywhere down here, 3265 or even further down for the second liquidity candle. That would be even better if we form 30-minute support here to push up. That would be even better. For that weekly wick, that's the plan. That's my plan for the weekly wick. Okay. Very likely the trades are going to come after, around NYC or after. Trades are going to come after, not just like yesterday. Yesterday there was a trade here. There was a trade. I'll be honest. There was a trade here. There was a clean trade. I just kind of missed it as well to spot it. Didn't spot it. 30-minute resistance from liquidity candle. This one inside. This one here, 1400 hours, closed at 1430. That's when this one opened. So yeah, this one broke this high. I need another high to be broken. That's this one. So the fib would be drawn like this. This is the most recent low of a candle that broke a previous high. This is the most recent high of a candle that broke a previous high inside 1400 hours IC market server time. 331, and this low is 216. 415, sorry. Yeah. Perfect tap, push down. There was a trade yesterday. Yeah. Stop loss here, 60 pips on that trade. This one about 30, 60, and we just push down straight to liquidity, 400. Yeah, we're pushing down hard. We're not coming back up for sales. At least not now. Not in the first hour and a half of the NY session. Not in the first hour. Now, yeah, it's already been about 45 minutes since the NY opened. So the next Sells are not happening in the next 30 minutes, 45 minutes. Yeah, this candle is very likely going to close bearish. This 30-minute candle is going to close bearish. The next one will probably break the low, continue even lower. We'll have to wait for a while. I'm gonna be looking for buys post NYSE. Post NYSE. That's when I'm going to be looking for buys. But after about one hour from now, maybe about an hour, I'm going to looking for buys. After what's that? All right, 15 minutes more for the next 30-minute candle to close. Candle has closed bearish, no bottom wick. We are still pushing down, not much of a top wick, neither is a bottom wick. Should continue down, should come up, create a top wick, and then continue further down. I want the further price goes, okay, just keep this in mind. The further price goes on a Friday, right? The further price goes, the better, because then there'll be a more of a pullback, more the pullback to get it and to take those buys that to have better RR on those trades. So the further price goes on a Friday, and the later that it goes, the better, because then the buys will come in around towards around 11 a.m., 10:30 a.m. EST, around 10:30 a.m. EST. Should have buys to push up. So the further down it goes, the better for that weekly wick to fall. Okay, I'll be back in a few minutes. We're just waiting for candles to close right now. I'm not going to be here for until NYSE open. Um, I've done the analysis. I've very clearly said what I'm looking for. I'm looking for buys to create the weekly candle wick, right? Buys from a liquidity level, ideally from 3265 or below, right? This liquidity candle is even better, right? I think then, and I believe we're coming there. We're just about 80, 90 pips away from it, right? So this liquidity candle is what I'm looking for. We are already in this liquidity candle. We should break this liquidity candle. This liquidity candle ends here. That's 3262.5. That liquidity candle, we should break that and come to the next one. That's or 3265. That's the area I'll be looking for buys to push up, right? For sells above here, above 3289. 30-minute resistance to form above 3289, above the Asian low. The Asian low is 3291. Above that area for sells down, right? Buys below here. Sells 30-minute resistance, 30-minute tradable back candle close for sells. Buys 30-minute support from here, even lower better, 30-minute support at 30-minute tradable bull candle close for the buys to go up and create the weekly wick. I'll be back in a few minutes. Okay, still 7 minutes for the candle to close. Nothing's happening. We're very bearish right now. I'm going to be here for maybe 7 minutes more until the candle closes. They're going to end the stream, but I'm going to be looking for a trade, the trade that I have explained for buys, right? For that weekly wick to form for the buys, so that the weekly wick forms. So I'm waiting for a pullback. I'm sorry, I'm waiting for a drop and 30-minute support to form, and a clear 30-minute tradable bull candle to close. Safer stop loss is always going to be under the liquidity candle low, whichever liquidity candle that is, that price reacts from. Um, I would like to take it from here. The deeper it comes, the deeper price comes, the better for the push up, for that wick, right? To create the wick. They'll have more profit potential for price to push up. If price decides to push up here, then sells, I'll look for 30-minute resistance, not 15-minute, because price kind of, it's doing nothing right now. There is no more news either, so I'll wait for 30-minute resistance to form, but above around the Asian low or above it, right? This zone here, this area, for sells to come down, right? If I doubt it, I doubt price is going to come up there for sells and then come all the way down and then go up. That's too much. That's too many moves. So price to come up here to 200 pips, then push down, then push back up. Yeah, there isn't that much volume. It is the last day of the week and the last week of the month. There isn't that much volume. There might be volume for a single move, right? For a move to push up, there might be a move. There might be volume for a single move. I don't think there's going to be volume for 2 or 3 moves today. So, yeah, just that's the trade that I'm going to be looking for today. Any questions on anything that I have discussed today, on the setup that I'm looking to take, on the analysis, on the trade that I did take yesterday from here? Any questions you can post in the chat. Should continue to push down. The candle is closing bearish, 30-minute candle, with no pullback. Should continue down. Yeah, 30-minute candle is closed. 1-hour candle is closed. No bottom wick. 30-minute candle also no bottom wick. Yeah, but we're still pushing down, coming down, heading towards 3265. Yeah, there is not going to be a pullback to take sells, but there will be a pullback, push up basically, if possible buys. All right, so that's the end of the stream. Shared, so it's going to be, I'm going to be looking for buys, not now, later on. Got to wait for price to make the move down. We're creating a new a low. Yeah, 30-minute time frame. We're creating a new low. So you got to wait for price to create the new low, uh, then form 30-minute support, 30-minute tradable bull candle close. Possibly price will pull back to create that 30-minute tradable bull candle close, and that's when you can take the buys to go up. All right, that's what I'm going to be looking for. All right. Okay, that's the end of the stream. We're coming down. This is nice. It's about over 600 pips today, 620 pips today. Wish I held. I got out here. Dropped another 350 pips. Got out at 3,300. Yeah, another 350. All right. Okay, so see you guys on Monday, 7:30 a.m. EST. To next week is NFP week. Friday is the 4th of July. Friday is a holiday, bank holiday. There'll be no trading, no New York session stream on Friday. But on Thursday is NFP, right? So we should be looking forward to high volume week next week, given that Friday is a day off. So there should be a lot of volume packed into next week. All right. Don't overtrade, don't over risk. It's the last week of the month and the last day of the week, so just be careful, right? But if you do see the buy setup, if you do see this setup here, 30-minute support form, a tradable 30-minute bull candle close from a zone or a liquidity level, that's the trade I'm looking to take. Okay, those are the buys. We've tapped 3265. Nice. We're coming to this liquidity candle. I've been saying this, that we're coming to this one. We already tapped this one, so we're coming here. Let's see if we can get, the further we come down, the better, right? The better, right? The more gold is oversold, the better. We'll have a bit of a pullback back up. Maybe 100 pip pullback, 150 pip, 200 pip pullback. Let's see. It depends on how far price comes down. All right. See you guys on Monday. Take care. Have a great weekend.